remember, if you will, back earlier in the night when I said surrender was a piece of cake. It was, I'm so kidding. I don't know anybody who doesn't, seriously, I don't know anybody who doesn't put up a really big fight during the act of surrendering. They put up a hell of a fight. And yet the act of honoring requires us to surrender, to being stretched, to being afraid, to failing, to admitting we don't know the answer, to losing control. Mary Oliver, in her poem, Wild Geese, reminds us, a good one, right? Reminds us we do not have to be good. We do not have to walk 100 miles on our knees. We do not have to walk 100 miles repenting. Instead, she suggests, we only have to let the soft animal of our body love what it loves. Surrender to it, she says. You can fight it, you can make it a long and drawn-out battle, you can resist it, or you can just let it be what it wants to be, like the song we just sang. We've all been there before. This place and this point of resistance, you can probably relate to it. We do it so well in this country, don't we? We make it hard. We are taught stuff like no pain, no gain, and we're taught the virtues of sweat and toil and perseverance. We're taught that everything good is worth fighting for. And you hear it in the language, don't you? That suspicion, that hardness, that thing that it's got to be hard, it's got to be fraught with tension and sweat. So no wonder we're so suspicious of easy. No wonder it's so damn hard for us to trust and let it flow without all that worry and toil and, well, sweat. Who would we be without that? It's such a part of our identity. Jill Bolte Taylor, the author of the book A Stroke of Insight, got a first-hand look at how easy this can be. For those of you who don't know her story, she's a brain scientist who experienced firsthand what it was like to have a stroke. And one day she was getting ready for work, and she had this splitting, unrelenting headache that would just not give up. And I should not have read that part of the book, so every time I get a headache, here it comes. She knew better, because she was a doctor. So on comes the headache, and then she starts to realize she's having trouble focusing. She's having trouble concentrating. And over the course of the next few hours, she has a stroke. And she knows she's having this, and she's alternately aware of the fact that she's having a stroke. And her left logical side of her brain is going, you're having a stroke. You know the statistics here. You know you've got to call the doctor. You know you've got to get to the ER, and statistically speaking, if you get there in the next 5 minutes, you're going to be fine. And the left side of her brain is freaking out, and then it shuts down. And then she accesses the right side of her brain, because the stroke is right in the middle of her brain. And she goes, and she's not concerned about the situation at all. She goes to this place where she's just in awe of everything around her. And it's just like that sound. That's my sense of her experience, is it doesn't have the chatter of the mind. And she completely transcended and was in awe of the experience of being present. And she referred to it as La La Land. The scientists called it La La Land. Her story is incredible, and I would totally recommend it, but there's one relevant piece as we talk about honoring tonight. At one point, she asked the audience, can you imagine, she was 37 at the time, can you imagine what it's like to have 37 years of emotional baggage and history just evaporate? Pretty cool, right? Just go poof, and it's gone. Can you imagine how liberated you would feel, and how light you would feel? So the heart of her story is not really about having a stroke, it's about choice. Because what she learned is that being in La La Land, it was there all along for her to touch and access, but she didn't allow herself entry because she didn't make that choice. She never allowed herself to believe it existed. Hard, struggle, fight.